I really believe we've got like some special talent here, but a market that's totally untapped, and that we need a spotlight on our fighters. I see it all fused into one. To me, it's all one big project. It's a lifestyle for me. You know what I mean? They never had a real gym in Abergaveny. They've had like a YMCA and boxers well known from Abergaveny, but not a proper gym. So I always wanted to do that.
So Kieran Gething, we're down here in Abergaveny. On the eve of some bad news, first and foremost, obviously you're set to fight this weekend against McCormack, super welterweight Celtic title, fortunately being pushed back. Can you just tell us about that first and foremost?
Yeah, I've come under the weather this week. I'm feeling unwell, but aside from that, we've had the board processing and medicals and things been a bit too slow on some stuff, so we've just had to push it back 2 weeks now. We fight in May the 12th in Harrow Leisure Centre.
So you said push back 2 weeks now. Now, what a lot of people may not understand outside of the sport, what is it like when you get a date pushed back? Because this fight was obviously originally October. We're now moving forward to, it was meant to be April, and now we're going back in May. What is it like for a fighter when a fight gets pushed back?
Yeah, it's like pouring fuel into the engine, and then suddenly the thing's stopping. It feels just like that. All you want to do is gear up and get ready. You need to, get in the right mindset and everything, and then to find out, even in it's to find out like a short notice to a fight or whatever that it has to be pulled or pushed is heartbreaking, and I feel for Graham as well.
Yeah. I was going to say, so obviously there you're saying like obviously it's a hard moment, etc. But as we can see now coming into shot, your 2 children here, family. Is that what keeps you motivated, which makes you think, right, I've got to keep going because I want to do it for them? Is that a motivation for you? Yeah,
to be honest with you, that's my only motivation at the minute, because I'm so happy with what I've done already. I've reached my dreams. That any kid that goes out and starts boxing now, they're dreaming of doing things that I've already done, and I'm now doing it to make sure that my kids remember that person, because this one might not remember it too much, but the other 3 they'll remember their dad being a champ.
How is it balancing a sport like boxing, which is intense? Obviously training camps are really intense, you spend a lot of time away from family. How is it balancing that with family life?
You've got to have a supportive spouse, and that's what I got, for the best in the world. She helps me do everything, and I wouldn't be able to do it without her.
So if you were to go back, obviously when you started your career in boxing back in 2016 as a professional, what would you say has changed in that time? Like your motivation, because back then, you're young, you're upcoming, you want to be a prospect, you want to win titles. That's, I'm sure, still the aim, of course. But is there any more added motivation? Is it the family? Is it anything else?
I don't think it adds. I think it just changes. I think motivations change. I remember being younger and, thinking I was really, really hard or whatever. And now I'm old enough, and I just think, I just got to enjoy myself and enjoy these experiences that I'll never get to do again. So
when you look at boxing in itself, like obviously here in Wales, we've had 13 world champions, 13 world champions, potentially 14 now, obviously in a couple of weeks' time with Lauren Price going out to fight, and then obviously if you come down, you've got brilliant fights. You've got the Welsh title, which you've held twice in 2 weights, When you look at stuff like that, what would you think the British Boxing Board of Control, essentially, which you will fight under, need to change to get a bit more of a light shed on Welsh boxing?
I think it's really hard for them, because a lot of people don't realise how much is done voluntary by the board, and they can be a pain in the backside sometimes. That's because they have to be. It's a bureaucracy, and if we want to have the good regulations that they put in place, with the best in the world, with the health regulations, if we want all that, then we've got to put up with the paperwork, really. but there's obviously we do look at things like modernising the system. The systems in place already, and the staff, and recognising that we need some sort of help with a charity as well, like a Ringside Charity. I know we've got one set up, but I think we need something fresh, and hopefully that's something the board could look at doing.
Yeah, so you saying there with the Ringside Charities, etc. If you can just elaborate on the one that's set up, etc. for.
Yeah, so it'll be a firm that'll help. Yeah. It'll be a firm that'll help set up things like care for ex-professionals. If a committee agreed upon a time spent in the sport, etc. If you competed for your country as an amateur, anything like that, you could give them some support later in life, or if they were having any trouble, you could have therapies and stuff. Private healthcare. That's a possible option. Yes, there's a lot of things that could be done to improve that side of it, but we need we need that good centralised body to do that.
So like you saying there, all that to change, you've also been on the promotional side of the sport. So obviously you've probably seen that in a lot more depth, I would say, to just what a fighter does. Or is it a completely different rule set? Like, like, can you sort of explain the difference how you deal with the board as a promoter and how you do as a fighter?
Fortunately, I was the events coordinator on our ones, so a lot the board communications went through the promoter Mo Pryor, as they always do. He has a good relationship, and I think that's a good key, a big key about being successful and being sustainable is having a real good relationship, being open with the board, and doing your best there.
So like putting on events in Wales, obviously, we alluded to earlier, there's not loads, there's not a massive light shed on Welsh boxing. What was your motivation to start putting on events and trying to put a bigger scope on the sport in Wales?
Always wanted to try it, and I've got a YouTube channel called Boxing in Wales, and I really believe we've got some special talent here, but a market that's totally untapped, and that we need a spotlight on our fighters before they reach Olympic and that kind of success. They should be able to almost have a fan base from when they're an amateur. There's a boy now, I know, he's 10 miles down the road in Bregan. He's 18 years old. He's had 15 fights, won 14 of them. Bunch of them championships. And, no one knows about it. So someone like that should be known.
So bringing it back then towards the family motivation thing, how do you balance your time? Obviously, with the family, of course, it's a big commitment, and you're a very proud father, as you said, and then you've also got being the fighter, and then you've also got who's still challenging for titles. You're motivated, like I said, your next fight is for the Celtic title.
Yeah.
And then you've also got that where you're trying to shine a light on the sport. How do you balance all your time to fit it all into one?
I see it all fuse into one. To me, it's all one big project. It's a lifestyle for me. You know what I mean? I'm doing degree now in psychology, and doing some independent research as well, with hopefully with the WABA giving their backing onto it, about how beneficial the sport is in all sorts of ways, whether that be personal, for a wider society, and it's not actually detrimental to anyone's or to everyone's health. It's a big positive in almost every participant's life.
Do you think then, what is your plans after boxing? Because I think that's a lot that doesn't get discussed a lot. You see some fighters, they go into a punditry role. Like you see, if you watch many shows now, the pundits are all ex-fighters.
Yeah.
But like you said, you're doing your degree in psychology. Is your plan to stay in boxing, but in a psychological capacity, behind the scenes after fighting?
No. So I personally want to go into a private practice or stay in adult mental health, because that's what I'm working in at the minute. because it's so interesting, but it obviously will tie into my boxing because I'm still a boxing coach. I run a gym in Abergaveny, so psychology comes into everything we do. So it's just going to benefit my understanding of boxing, the way I get the spotlight on the fighters. I'll have a better understanding when I in that game for a long time.
So like you said, just there in that sentence there, you said you also coach boxers, you got your amateur gym here. How rewarding is that for you? I spoke to some amateur coaches before and they say it's the most rewarding thing they've ever done because they can obviously see the upgrades and see like fighters coming through, and and everyone who's been in boxing's got an eye for talent.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm sure you see that every day when you come through here, when you see fighters coming here. So what is your motivation behind wanting to do that as well?
Yeah, I always wanted to start a gym down here. It's my hometown. I never had a real registered gym. What's the matter, boy? Don't know. They never had a real gym in Abergaveny. They've had like a YMCA and boxers well known from Abergaveny, but not a proper gym. So I always wanted to do that. It's a facility that I train myself in. That I've got all the kit that I need here. Is somewhere where I've got a bunch of amateurs that are in there and want to prove a point against me a lot of the time if I decide to put the gloves on with them. And as far as rewarding goes, is almost nothing like it. It's like seeing one of your kids do well. It's a wonderful feeling.
So when it comes then back to the boxing side of things, obviously, what keeps you motivated? Because not to be all bringing it up, but obviously you've got a few losses on your record, a couple of draws as well. What keeps you motivated? Like, because on the weekend just gone, we saw Devin Haney just lost to Ryan Garcia, and he's absolutely devastated about the loss and all this lot. But he's also said he's come back stronger. For someone like yourself who's taken a loss on the build-up as well, how does that feel for you? And how does it motivate you more just to want to get back in there and push on and make sure
definitely. I never want to. I've always said I'd never want to end on a loss, so I don't think I'll let myself do that. So that's my ego. But again, my ego. I don't feel that I've clearly lost any of my fights or draws. To be honest with you, because I've got a big ego, and I suppose if I didn't genuinely believe that, then I could face a bit of disbelief in there. But I'm too big at it.
So would you say then the fire in your belly's still there for the boxing? You want it?
Yeah. I wouldn't say I want it as much as I did, but I've got aims and goals and targets that I expect of myself.
So obviously, as years have gone by, would you say that your aims and goals have changed to what they were when you first set out as a professional?
Not really. I always said that I wanted to box for like an international or European title. I have boxed for a continental title now, but I think I'm good enough to win one. So that's probably the only aim that I've consistently had throughout. And it was at a point if I'd beat Yaxley, I was a fight away from potential top 10 world ranking with the IBOs, and we could have seen a lot of different things then, but shit happens.
So with all that though, with the sport as a whole, not only just in Wales, not only just for yourself, is this something that you would like to change about boxing?
And the only thing you could change is the judging, because that's the only thing that everyone wants to change. But how do you do it? You take judging out of it. You take maybe the human side out of it. And how do you like program something to score a point? It's a mind-boggling one.
So, and then obviously moving forward in your career, then so obviously Graham McCormack was meant to be the fight. It was a bit of a heated build-up in one sense. I think a lot came to because obviously the fight got pushed back a couple of times. But when you have like a heated build-up like that, does it really sink your teeth into it and you think, right, I actually really...
we both want it. Yeah. We both want it. It feels real. It's not like if you're fighting a journeyman, you don't see him until the day before. We've had the face-to-face. We know what we want.
as I said, it was like I said, it was a bit heated, but there's always respect there. I think people that understand with fighters that no matter how bad some of the build-ups get, I don't think you ever really see one where there's genuine hate in there. You know, I think they always have the respect, and I'm sure you have a lot of respect for Graham McCormack. Obviously, he's been around the block, he's been in some brilliant fights, etc. But yeah, I'm sure there's always a lot of respect there for Graham McCormack coming into this fight.
Yeah, sorry you didn't respect your question, then, but yes, there is a lot of respect for Graham McCormack. We wouldn't have been able to drag this saga out so long if there wasn't a bit of respect there between us.
So obviously then, with your career then, how long would you say you have left in boxing? Because everyone says it's a short man's sport, like as in short period of time, you know. Like we see fighters that are world champion in Wales, Joe Cordino has openly said, doesn't feel like he's got too long left in the sport, so he's looking for legacy fights and money fights, etc., which you can't really blame him for. But like, if you were to put a time scale on how long you believe you have left in the sport, how long would you think?
Well, it's my birthday on April the 8th, so I've probably got about 345 days left or something like that. This is my last year.
This is last year. So how many fights do you plan to have in your last year?
Probably 3.
So for you then, in them 3 fights, if you were to set yourself a goal for each fight and where you end up at the end of them 3 fights, what would it be?
So it's the Celtic title on May the 12th. June to July sometime. It's going to hopefully be the some sort of international title, whatever. You know, ranking belt. And then the last one is hopefully going to be a goodbye in Abergaveny, and maybe have a couple of new up-and-coming pros on that.
Oh no! I was going to say, is that something like, I know you said you want to go into practice afterwards, but I think everyone knows a boxer never leaves boxing. Mm-hmm. And is like that a motivation for you? Do you want to be someone's head trainer? Do you want to be that person, you know? That
I will be at some point, yeah, definitely. Be a waste of my time to not be, really, I think, because if we don't try and improve what comes after us, then there's no point in learning it in the first place. But yeah, it's just going to be fitting it in the right time for me now, making sure that maybe set phases in my life where I'm going to do that type of thing, and this is definitely the start of it. Helping the amateurs is a big part of it, and then over the next couple of years, helping out a gent called Leon Haynes from down West Wales. He's won a Western Division title recently, and he's looking to box in a box cup, I think, and then have his first professional fight not long after. There's another boy from Llanelli. Hopefully I can talk about him a little bit more in the future. But come here, you.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, there's room for that in the next couple of years for me.
So then, just a final one, really, just assess the Welsh boxing scene right now, because it's thriving, isn't it? Really, like, you know, we're fortunate we got the show come back here May the 11th. Obviously with Lauren Price, obviously we've seen some fantastic prospects. We were talking about it off camera. Yeah. Some of the prospects coming through, and some of the step-ups fighters are going through as well. Yeah. So, just a bit of a word on the Welsh boxing scene, really, and like how it's changed since you started as a pro. Because I believe back in 2016 there wasn't loads of big shows down here. Now all of a sudden we've had Cordina bring us 2 big nights. We had Liam Williams has brought us a few big nights. You know, we've had Lauren Price now is about to start bringing us big nights. Just assess the Welsh boxing scene.
If I'd have started now, I'd have been in a better position, I think. But it's definitely improved. It's massively improved. We've got some superstars now, really. We just need to make sure that the next generation of superstars is on their way, and I think it is. We've got the Croft twins, you know, they're handsome whippersnappers doing well, and they're going to smash it out of Crawler's gym too.
Yeah, final one then. Sort of, to bring it back full circle, obviously, you know, delayed, not denied, etc.
Yeah.
So, just a final message towards Graham McCormack for your fight now, which is now May the 12th.
Yes. Good luck, Graham, and the rest of the camp, mate. And I am sorry it's taken so long to be able to get you in the ring, but I'm sure we won't let anyone down when we get in there. And if you're careful, I won't bring the boys.
Brilliant. Kieran, well, thank you very much for your time and having me down again today.
Cheers, mate.